Imagine being called out and dismantled in front of your entire class. Well, that's exactly what happened when Charlie Kirk took on a woke student in a fiery debate. You won't believe the way this huge conflict plays out.
A white person do that a black person can't do?
Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs if they have a black-sounding name.
That's not even close to being true.
A heated discussion over racial discrepancies in the labor market was the beginning of it all. The student contended that structural racism persisted, especially in the distribution of employment possibilities. She cited research indicating that, in comparison to white candidates, black applicants with black-sounding names had a 50% lower chance of getting a callback. Racial prejudice in employment procedures was well shown by this sobering figure, which made it impossible to ignore. But Charlie Kirk wasn't going to let the debate end there. Although he acknowledged the existence of racial disparities, he disputed the idea that systematic inequality serves as the main catalyst for them. Kirk contended that considerations such as individual merit, effort, and personal accountability are also necessary. In his response, he said that although discrimination does happen, it would be oversimplified to link all differences to systematic racism. Kirk said that by concentrating only on these elements, we lose chances to encourage people to rise above their circumstances through perseverance, hard work, and resilience rather than encouraging a victim mentality. However, the argument was far from ended. The student, who was becoming more and more irate, strengthened her case and insisted that white Americans had an unfair advantage in the labor market. Although there was obvious tension in the room, Kirk remained cool under pressure, skillfully directing the discussion toward the larger problem of structural inequality in the United States. Another student had this point of view.
Who's Milton Friedman?
Who's Milton Friedman? I have no idea, and it's not important to this conversation.
Who is Ludwig von Mises?
These are all probably economists.
Charlie Kirk is surrounded by names from economic history in a vibrant discussion, and they come at him one after the other in rapid succession. While even titans in their own right like Milton Friedman, Ludwig von Mises, and John Maynard Keynes have had a unique influence on contemporary economics, he remains stuck by their academic authority. Friedman, a supporter of free market principles, believed that little government involvement was necessary, which was quite similar to Charlie's own viewpoint. Then there's von Mises, whose beliefs are in line with many libertarian principles and who is a fervent supporter of individual liberty and classical liberalism. Lastly, Charlie probably finds it more contentious, but Keynes, the founder of modern macroeconomics, advocated for government involvement to stabilize economies. These historical people are significant to Charlie, but they don't take center stage in his story. Rather, he views them as part of a bigger picture, one in which his theories and convictions will ultimately take the foreground. He also acknowledges the impact of these giants of business, but he's more concerned with how his own voice fits into the conversation of the day. Friedman and von Mises share his support for individual liberty and constrained government, while Keynes embodies the other perspective. Charlie views these intellectuals as historical anecdotes in the context of his larger goal of transforming contemporary conservatism.
Different view of what education is. So education in Latin means to lead forth.
Okay.
Your idea of education is the New Age, which is we're going to have like a buffet line of...
After that, the discussion became philosophical, with Kirk and the student debating the meaning and goal of education in general. With his support for a return to classical education, Kirk espoused the Latin phrase to lead forth. He compared this to what he saw to be the postmodern smorgasbord of ideas seen in the current educational system, where each theory is given equal weight regardless of its value. According to Kirk, this postmodern methodology encourages a relativistic worldview that minimizes critical thinking. Rather than acquiring the ability to evaluate other viewpoints, pupils are taught that all points of view are legitimate, regardless of their potential flaws. Kirk criticized this and called for a return to more organized, principle-driven learning, seeing it as a failure of contemporary education. He underlined that pupils lack the necessary preparation to participate in insightful discussions or successfully negotiate the intricacies of the outside world. The pupil didn't seem to be buying it. She maintained that children were better equipped for a more linked world by virtue of the focus on inclusion and variety of views in current education. Kirk, however, made a pointed counterargument. Truth and intellectual rigor should not be sacrificed in the sake of inclusion, even if it is vital. This demonstrated the obvious difference between the two. There was a conflict between education and political ideas.
Which is the civilization we currently live in.
Okay, but that
let me
stems
finish.
from Greek and Roman
Of course, you're right.
ideologies.
So the good, the true, and the beautiful.
Many influences have shaped our society today, but the concepts of the ancient Greeks and Romans remain at the core. It was highly prized to pursue what these ancient cultures called the good, the beautiful, and the truth. These three principles served as the cornerstone of philosophy and intellectual pursuits, encouraging individuals to live morally upright, prudent, and aesthetically pleasing lives. These ageless ideas still hold true today despite changes in culture and technology. For example, in philosophy and art, students are still driven by the search for aesthetic beauty, moral values, and the truth. These outmoded concepts encourage more awareness, respect, and action in a world that is all too often fixated on the fleeting and ephemeral. As we advance, keeping in mind these timeless principles may enable us to live more purposeful and contented lives, while continuing to be connected to the eternal lessons of antiquity.
Where you come from, you get the opportunity to talk to people who know a lot about these different subjects.
As a well-known voice in today's social and political debate, Charlie Kirk often has discussions with people who are quite informed about a variety of subjects. He may study subjects in depth and deepen his comprehension thanks to this chance to interact with specialists. This is something that many of us don't always get to do directly. Charlie gains knowledge via conversations with others about politics, society, and philosophy on a continuous basis. This encourages him to question his own beliefs and develop as a thinker. These interactions serve as a helpful reminder of the benefits of ongoing education and candid communication. Charlie exemplifies the importance of knowledge acquisition for both individual and societal advancement by surrounding himself with accomplished individuals. His experiences demonstrate how everybody can gain by interacting with others who have different perspectives and broadening their horizons intellectually, which will eventually improve both their own lives and the lives of those around them. It is from the experiences of others that we get fresh ideas and answers. This debate brought up several crucial issues, such as, does free education diminish its value, or should everyone consider education to be a universal right that may be attained by everyone, regardless of financial situation? Here's what the next student replied to his question.
Not a million, but like a lot of different authors, and also there's 4 birth stories,
One author. God is the author, but a lot of people transcribe.
Okay.
Charlie Kirk often explores deep topics like the notion of authorship in one's life path, delving into conversations about religion. He considers how there's only one real author, God, even if numerous individuals have an impact on our lives and add to our learning. According to this perspective, even if innumerable people write their own chapters in life, a greater force ultimately shapes the story. Charlie highlights the notion that while people may claim credit for their accomplishments or relate their own tales, a more profound spiritual force is ultimately in charge of the larger narrative of life. This idea inspires individuals to see beyond their own achievements and see a bigger picture in their lives. Those who are looking for meaning find solace in Charlie's exclamation of these concepts, which serves as a reminder that despite the multiplicity of viewpoints and voices they come across, there's always a fundamental truth that was created by something much bigger than themselves. It's an uplifting but humble viewpoint that encourages in-depth contemplation of the purpose of life. Another student showed some interest in education.
What does that mean to you?
Resources, learning how to work.
According to Charlie Kirk, resources include much more than just money or material belongings. He believes that mental and emotional resources are the most valuable since they are founded on an individual's ability to develop, learn, and adapt. It's not enough to have resources at your disposal. In order to fulfill your professional and personal development, you also need to know how to use them properly. Charlie emphasizes the need for self-education and notes that learning happens both inside and outside of the classroom. It entails taking initiative, seeking out opportunities for growth, and cultivating an attitude of continual progress. Every encounter becomes a tool for advancement, whether it's via reading, having conversations with wise others, or facing challenges head-on. Do you think Charlie Kirk's argument hit the mark, or do you see it differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more debates and discussions. See you in the next video.